Hello, my name is Gael Castro, and I'm the creator of the film opening Strike. When choosing the genre of my film, I wanted to look at some other student projects from previous years, and to my surprise, most of them were quite serious dramas or thrillers with little to none being joyful. That is when I thought of one of my biggest passions, baseball. After that, I decided to incorporate that into my film and established it as a sports drama. There are a lot of teenagers these days who look up to baseball stars and want to become one someday. And that is exactly what I wanted my film to portray, a kid's journey towards achieving his goal of becoming a professional baseball player. I chose Strike as my title because the film is focused on the main protagonist's journey towards his goal of being a professional baseball player. And certain points of the film represent his actions where he'd have to strike, which would allow him to grow. Also, strike is a term in baseball, so it works very well for the title of a baseball film. This striking aspect also challenges the many conventions that society has established with a team sport being practiced by a team, but the main character's dedication allows him to overcome that barrier and practice mostly alone with some help from his dad. The name of the main protagonist is Gael Castro. This is the same name as the actor because both the actor and the main character are very similar. The main protagonist is a kid with a great passion for baseball and wants to achieve his dream of becoming a major leaguer one day, but has to start at the bottom by first making it to the Little League World Series, which is the first step to becoming a major leaguer. If I were to actually make the full movie, I would target a younger audience as the film would have a greater effect on them. I would also market it on social media sites such as YouTube and TikTok and show them on channels such as TBS or Disney. Before starting on the filming process, I also had in mind what I would like my opening to be. That is when I decided to have minimal dialogue and instead had a montage with music over it. This was intended for the audience to get hyped up with the feel of an inspiring music video, which will allow for a greater interest in the rest of the film for later. When researching, I quickly looked at one of my most inspiring directors, Sylvester Stallone. His film Rocky was a huge inspiration for my film due to the inspiring nature that it provides for the audience to achieve their goals no matter the challenges. The movie Rocky has a unique style with the music being a very extremely important feature of the film. I love the way the music syncs with the actions of the characters and their journey towards their goal. So I wanted to use that idea for mine. The music for my film is very in sync with the character's actions, for example when the character is fielding ground balls or organizing his equipment, etc. Eminem's music is the music I listen to hype me up before a baseball game, and I wanted that same feeling to be felt in my film. Yet, with no lyrics to allow for the environment to be heard and portrayed through the background noise of the cars, the cheering of the fans, and more. A huge aspect of the opening is the suspenseful part at the end of the opening to allow the audience for interpretation and anticipation on what will happen next, and will cause the audience to be more engaged after the screen goes black. The most difficult aspect of the production process was filming alone. In some parts, especially in the garage shot or the character walking a long distance, a lot of elements such as conflict, passion, and a backstory, and more were introduced in just the opening of the film. The opening is basically an introduction on what is going to happen. I wanted to incorporate many different camera angles to allow the opening to be more interesting and unique as well as professional. One of my favorite shots was the moving shot across the net when he was throwing the ball because it feels very high quality, as well as the focus on the ball shot before the strike logo. Both shots were very fun to play with focus as well as movement. My opening was divided in sections, the first being the character gathering all his equipment to use for practice, then his long walk alone with all the equipment to the field, then finally the character practicing. The first two parts of the film allow for the audience to get a greater understanding of the character's environment and dedication. The flashbacks incorporated in the film further this understanding by allowing the audience to understand the protagonist's past so they are caught up with the character's journey with baseball. After finishing the filming portion of the opening, I would later have to edit the opening. This would take an incorporation of many different technologies. The filming portion was taken on my iPhone 13, which allowed for greater cinematic shots with the cinematic feature being a great part of the film's filming. Due to most of the filming being alone, I had to use a tripod. Then I finally edited on my iMac using iMovie. It is seen as a beginner editing software, but I am able to make it look pretty good with what I have. Yet the most professional and my favorite part of the film is when the logo strike appears, which I designed on Keynote on my iMac. The entire process has been challenging and enjoyable. I learned a lot about the different camera angles and how fluency is key in the production process. I made a lot of mistakes through the process, but those failures I learned from, and they allowed the film to get better over time. The trial and error allowed for the finished product to be better than the beginning, and overall it was a greater experience than I could have asked, and I wouldn't trade it for the world, as well as I hope the world enjoys the film opening Strike.